You need 300 ml, a teaspoon of sugar. The milk should be warm but not hot, else it'll kill the yeast when you do it. So when that's nice and hot, put in the microwave. I did for about 1 minute 20 is enough. And then after that you put I use two for this recipe, 500 grams of plain strong flour. I got pink salt, two small teaspoons of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, but don't let it go to the middle until the last stir. I'll show you in a bit. There's baking powder. So in the warm milk, which has got a teaspoon of sugar in as well, we put in 2 teaspoons of, I've got it so that you can weigh it for 9 grams, but I tend to know what it is. It's 2 heaped teaspoons. Right, when that's in, give it a whisk, get it to blend in, and then it goes into a warm place. I usually put it back in the microwave because it's already warm in there. I stick it in the microwave for about 10 or 15 minutes or till you can see that the yeast is actually working. Now that looks like that's been in for about 10 minutes. And look, it's starting to foam, so I know that the yeast is active. I now whisk in 3 tablespoons of olive oil, nice virgin olive oil, and 1 whole egg, which I'll do now. This is just to whisk everything together with the egg. It's well beaten. I think that's all in. Now I added that, which is the warm milk, and then you stir this in. Always use the end of a spoon because it gets a bit sticky at this stage. I used to do it by hand, but since I've had this nice Vosspeed mixer, I've used it again and again. So just mix this until it's all together and the flour's all combined, which will take me a minute or so. And I'll go to the next stage. Like when you do stir this in, make sure that you've got all the dough mixed in with the flour, so there's still some at the bottom. It hasn't got to be exact, but it's better than having to do it by hand. It just take a minute or two though, and that's the first stage. Right, now when you put it in the mixer, it needs to be staying there till it starts to go into a very smooth ball. Now normally if you do this by hand, you would put your hand in, squeeze it and turn it and keep turning it and rising it, and you do that until it's a completely smooth ball. When it's at that point, then it goes to stand for 1 hour to let it rise. But seeing as I've got a mixer, been really pleased with this. It was a bargain as well. That was last year's Christmas present.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, I'm not talking to you, Alexa. So there they are. So I've got that on now. I turn that on to start it. Let's take it down. I can't do it with 2 hands. I'll be with you. Sorry about that. There you are. So I'm not hand mixing it, but if you hand mix it, then you do it to a small ball, so it's really pliable and it's smooth. And then you let it stand for an hour in a warm place covered. But I'm going to do this in this first, so it saves all the hard work and the hands. Better if I turned it on, wouldn't it? Because for safety, I didn't plug it in until I'm ready. There you are. It's not quite done yet, but what this does is, with this mixer, it really pees me off actually. What it does is, after it starts to get pliable, as you can see, it starts going, riding up the blooming, up that, so, but you can see how it's changing and how it's coming together and pliable. So there you are. Get that one. Trying to get him off the hook. You can see it's round the dish as well. It's not all in, so I'll just knock a bit of that in for it as well. Get in. Not very good with this because I'm trying to do it with video with one hand and do it with the other, whereas I'd be using a bit more movement. Let's have a look now. So yeah, what I'm doing is just getting this off here. And then I'll start it off again, see if it starts riding up, which it usually does. That's okay. I will start him again. Pop him down. Whoops. Pop it down and turn it back on. Right, well, it's been in the mixer for about, I suppose, about 8 to 10 minutes, just on the lowest. And then got it out. Grease a bowl with a little bit of olive oil, so it's got a bit of, so it don't stick. And then you're going to pop this now into a warm place, out of any drafts, because I don't like drafts, because you're used to living things. So what I suggest is, whenever you go to a hotel, this is what I keep. The shower ones, you know, they always put one in a hotel. Keep that, and they're great. Just pop it over there like that. Now this is going to go in the warm place. I usually stick it in the microwave, to be honest. It's good as anywhere. It's out of any drafts. Put a tea towel over it and pop it in the microwave. Not on, off, but it should be warm in there still. And then pop it into the microwave for 1 hour. Okay. Alright, so he's in there. Keep him warm, and then set your Alexa. Alexa, reminder.
What's the reminder for?
Check the bread.
When should I remind you?
1 hour.
Okay, I'll create a reminder to go off in 1 hour.
Right, so that's it really. After an hour, you have to knead it a little bit on a floured board, but we'll go to that stage later. Right, meanwhile, while that's waiting for an hour, I've been making my Yorkshire puddings, making the dough ready. What that is 200 ml of milk, 3 eggs, and 164 grams of flour. I use the strong plain flour, which is bread flour basically, and make it like my mum did. What you do is you do 3 eggs in with 200 ml of milk, weigh out 164 grams of flour, and a teaspoon of baking powder. And I always put a bit of salt in, white salt, and I suppose about a teaspoon, a very level teaspoon of salt. Now when you whisk it, I use a hand mixer for that, it should get to that stage where it's nice and creamy, but it should be bubbles. That's when you know it's ready to put aside in the fridge in a cold place overnight, and then you do the Yorkshire puddings tomorrow. I use beef dripping. I'll put hot beef dripping into each tray in a muffin tin and fill it halfway. Put it right in the oven. It's got to be really hot, and they're about 10 minutes, I suppose, till they've risen, and you can see that they're done. And that's it. That's Yorkshire puddings for me. Right, we'll have a look then now. It's been just over an hour. Alexa just gone off, so let's have a look. It should have doubled in size. Oh, it's more than doubled actually. But you can see how these are so useful. Keep the oiled side down and you can use it again. Right, there you are. How nice is that? You punch it in to get the air out, which seems stupid really, that you knock out the air before you knead again. And then you put a little bit of flour. Put it on get here. Where's my flour? Right. I've got to find it. I find it easier to use one of these instead of having a pile of just use a tea strainer like that. Okay. Right, you've got that there. Then you can put that onto here. But as I'm holding this, it's a bit difficult, but I'm hoping it'll drop out. No, it looks like it's going to need me to get my hand in, I think, by the looks of it. There you are, it's been turned out. So it's had the first rising. So what you're going to do is you're going to just give it a bit of a knead. Not a lot really, because it's had an awful lot in the mixer. So, but if I've got two hands, you can see the movement I make. You do that. Right. Sorry about the movement of the camera, but I'm doing it with one hand. Right, so when you've given this a good kneading, which I'm going to do now, you weigh it. You weigh the total amount. I'm going to make some little rolls, so and a bread, so I'll make both. So what I'll do is I'll get my tin. Just brush it with a bit of olive oil, shake a bit of flour in it, and then I'll use about just over, I'll say half. Yeah, I'll try a smaller loaf this time, just a half, and then I'll use the other half for cobs. So there's my bread pan for the cob, well, for the loaf. Put a bit of this in. Yeah, I'll put quite a bit actually. Right, and then you knock it till it's gone. I'll have to do it with my other hand, but you see what I mean. Let's put some more in. I need to put it in each side, just a little bit on each side. It will knock round, it will, as you can see. Can you see it there? See, it's starting to knock round, which I'll bang it about in a minute. I'll bang it. And then the residue then will go all over it. Whoops. They've done it for me. Okay. So I'm going to have to bang this a bit. All the way around. But you see what I mean? You're going to cover that oil. It just stops it sticking, doing it this way. Knock it about. I can't bang it with one hand, so but to give you an idea, see the residue. Okay. And then when you've got it all coated with a little bit of flour, you can put this thing, well, half of it in. There you are. I've knocked all the residue out of it, but there's that bit of oil, bit of flour. Now this, I've weighed it, and half of it is 462 grams. So what I'm going to do is cut it in half, perhaps a little bit extra for on the loaf, and then I'll weigh it again. So I've kneaded it a little bit more. Still got my other to do some little cobs. And this here, I will do exactly the same again. Pop this oiled plastic over it, a towel, pop it into the microwave for an hour, and I'll have a look after an hour. Right, the other one's in there to make a little loaf, but this is, let's have a look. This is the other part of it. I've got 451 grams, so what I do, I make that to round it up really for 10, which is 45. So it'll be 45 grams each little roll. I forgot to say, before you put it in for an hour, I snip it. It's just some people use a razor blade for the better effect, but to be honest, I just snip like that. Just a few snips. Now that's back in there now, just in the microwave in a warm spot. Shut that, and I've got it on for an hour. Can't remember. Alexa, what's my reminders?
There are no reminders scheduled.
I didn't think I'd done that. I had forgot to just score the top of the bread. Just, I don't know why, just do. Started rolling these out into 45 gram balls. And I've got to set the reminder. Alexa, set a reminder.
What's the reminder for?
Check the bread has risen.
When should I remind you?
1 hour.
Okay, I'll create a reminder to go off in 1 hour.
There you are. So I've started cutting these up. What I'll do is I'll get a chunk them up, and then weigh them. It's better if it was on, actually. I want to get 45 grams. So you haven't got to stick to these. You do what you like. You can have big cobs, little ones. These are, see, that's 59. So I've got to make it to 45. So I'll take bits off till I get to 45. Right, I think it's time to clean up, I think. Right, there you are then. So I've got 10 little balls, all 45 grams. I do the same with these, just a little snip. Literally just a little, or a big one, just a little snip on it. Don't know why I do it, but I do it that way. Unless you've got a proper instrument, it's like with a man's razor blade on it, very sharp, and they score it. So, but that works for me anyway. I just keep some oiled pieces of cling film that you've lightly oiled, and then that seems to work. I just stick them on. I roll them up and keep them for another time. So then will last a few times more. And that's it. And again, I'll leave these for an hour, or perhaps an hour and a half if you want them to be a bit bigger. And I'll let you know how they get on.